made headlines during the week. Gentlemen, the president's just been addressing Parliament over these oil agreements. I don't know how many people watched. John, I don't know if you watched, John Joroge, if you're watching the president deliver that speech.
I was traveling, so I didn't.
And there's been a lot of contestation over whether these agreements should have been signed, what it means now that they have been signed, what it means that the president chooses to go to Parliament after signing them, trying to convince them to endorse or rubber stamp. Would that be the right thing? Honor, come back to you. You're in business, international business.
Yeah, we're in business, and this is real business. Look, for me, again, this is a redundant story at this point, because it's become so obvious that in this part of the world, wealth is part of the instruments of power. He who controls power controls wealth. So people are just trying to pretend that.
And he who controls wealth controls power.
Yeah,
I mean,
so President Museveni has basically made a statement that he has the power and is going to do what he can with the power. So MPs can posture, they can scream, they can do what, but until when they're able to wrest power from the president, nothing is going to change. So the best Ugandans can hope is that the president has made the right decision. And unfortunately, the oil issue is really complicated, not just in Uganda, but internationally. It's a very shrouded world. Very few people understand. Even the MPs are just scratching the surface. So we are really at the mercy of people who know. And we just have to wait and hope that something comes good out of this. But to think that the president will be stopped from crusading the way he believes is just a dream.
John, what's your take? Did you watch the president deliver his speech this afternoon?
I didn't. I read a couple reports. It seems to me that Parliament was duped by a very clever president, and I think they need to learn from this mistake and be more prepared next time.
How were they duped?
Well, in allowing the president to go past Parliament, sign these agreements behind...
They passed a resolution last year,
right,
and said don't sign any new agreements. Then he goes and looks at them and says, okay, I know Parliament resumes this afternoon and orders the minister sign the agreement, then goes to Kasese, basically thumbs his nose at them and says, I signed them because I knew what was going to happen. Well, now, he asks for space to come to Parliament and explain to them.
Yeah, Parliament should be used to these kind of tricks. Some might call it outright robbery, and learn how to coalesce and create some level of substantive opposition. Clearly, they haven't done that.
Chris, does Parliament remain with any ounce of credibility now that the president has ignored them?
Has it ever had credibility? I have told you in this show, in that Parliament, you could only have about 20 MPs, whom you can consider genuine MPs. Even the MPs are wealth seekers. So what are we talking credibility? People who are...
It's not wrong to seek wealth.
But by denying others openly, masquerading as their leaders, is that how you seek wealth? No. There's no credibility we're talking about the Parliament. We are now saying maybe they have lost out on being bribed to sign to allow the man to sign it. The only difference that President Museveni has signed it without bribing MPs. Usually, if he wants, he gives them something small, and then they go yes. This time the anger could be, Museveni, why didn't you even? Why don't you? Yeah, of course, the cars were given to them, and they cannot do anything. They will just shout a few of them, and it vanishes. The reality then is President Museveni's speech, if you analyze him, is trying to very much to show that he came with this oil to Uganda. Every time my engineers did this, even twisting the known historical fact that this oil was found long ago. Actually, other regimes only didn't want to exploit it because their focus was on cooperatives, agriculture, and oil would disrupt certain developments. They want tourism. Now, for him, he has come and he smells petrodollars, and he's trying to see petropolitics, playing the petropolitics now to run Uganda with the oil. The problem we should be asking as Ugandans, yes, you have signed the thing. How many million barrels of oil do we have? Because my information is who signs? They have been trying to underdeclare our oil. So that you Ugandan, we only have these barrels, but there are more barrels. Who takes that? That's why we need transparency in this oil.
And he said something interesting in his speech. He said he doesn't care whether the oil runs out in 20 years, provided we are able to get the money and do things that will outlast that
now we are him and who? You see, for us, we in our Chikosi, this club, and me the CEO, how much do I get? We defining who? Because we have always had the money. Where does it go? So this parliament should not also dupe us. Parliament shall only tell them, Museveni, since you have signed your Alpha and Omega, please, when you get, throw some medicine. Maybe we've been asking for that. Because as of now, we look very important to challenge him. Let's be asking him, you have signed with the Talo, with the total. So after you have seen the money, can you help us, the Baganda, have Buganda Royal University go to another level? Can you, because he's a donor. We have no power to question monetary transactions in this country except President Museveni.
Nick, your take.
My take. I had my brother John Gastinos talking about Parliament being full. There is nothing like Parliament being full. President Museveni, and I don't want to say this, but let me just say it. At one ceremony, he told these people that I went to hunt. I got my animal. Now you are telling me
he was speaking in Bushenyi.
The liver should go to so on. No, it doesn't. In Africa, it doesn't work like that.
I take my
and President Museveni,
in Africa, I eat the liver raw while
At a minimum, though, we're seeing a very ineffective parliament. And if let's flash back a few weeks ago when there was all this hope that the 9th Parliament would achieve a whole lot. I think what happened here, and I think what we saw earlier in the week with ministers accepting money for vehicles, should
members
make
of Parliament actually.
Right,
not
members,
ministers.
Right, members of Parliament. We should be very, very skeptical about what the 9th Parliament is going to do.
this is the point.
And this latest run of events is indicative of that.
This is the point I'm getting to. I'm saying that here in Africa, it is like that. The one who leads the hunt then decides, this will go to the. So that oil is part of what was hunted.
I'm in full agreement with you, but a few weeks ago, everybody was very hopeful about what the 9th Parliament would achieve, and I suspect they're not going to achieve a whole lot.
I'm coming to the Parliament. Now, if you listen, the other day I was with a Mason, and he told me a police patrol truck passed by and stopped a taxi, and the way the policemen were talking to the taxi driver, he was giving them money. So this man just explained and says, he said in our language, so he who gives you authority has given you the opportunity to eat. This Parliament, all those politicians, first and foremost, what is first on their agenda is school fees for their children, the petticoats for their wives, and things like that.
Aren't they past that point, though? If they were able to run for Parliament, they've got to have a lot more
that is what
than
they
food
have
to
got
put
to
in their
do.
children's
You see,
bellies.
John,
That's
is
the
what
idea.
they have got to do. But we are still at that level, So, if you are one of those people who sit here and say, Parliament is going to the Parliament, there is nothing, my friend. They have to
I'm
first
not one of those
satisfy
people.
them. No. I am one of those who really would want them to
Correct.
do the best. But that is the reality. So, then when it comes to President Museveni, the politician, these things that President Museveni does, they pass Parliament passes a resolution, then he goes ahead, thumbs his nose and does the exact opposite. Year in, year out, State House has come to Parliament with supplementary budgets to approve supplementary of money that they have already used. Just come as a rubber stamp.
3 months into the new budget, into the new financial year.
If these people all these years have been rubber stamping these things, what else do you expect? And there has been nothing. But then another point that I would like to that shows how consummate and cunning a politician Museveni is. This money for these vehicles was given to these MPs in December, I'm told. Now, it was, in quotes, kept...
December was around the time everybody was very hopeful about the 9th Parliament.
Exactly.
Isn't the timing a bit strange?
It was kept a secret, and...
It's also the time that the economy was really bad.
It was really bad. Then, a week before he comes to address Parliament, somehow it appears in the papers. So, what
The
do you
vehicle
expect?
scheme.
The
The vehicle scheme.
Because MPs.
The
Chris,
people
we're
now
coming
are
to the vehicle
discredited.
scheme
The
in a
people-
moment.
The people who you had hope in are discredited. Then he comes and talks to them. Everybody now looks at whoever was in Parliament as part of a cabal of thieves.
John.
But I don't think Parliament is hopeless. I think they're just very susceptible to being bought off, and I don't think they have political will and the political organization
It's
to
unfortunate.
maximize their
Parliament
powers.
is hopeless.
It's unfortunate
My brother
that I have-
But they don't
It's
have to be hopeless. They don't have to be
I must
hopeless.
teach you an English word.
Please do.
You are nearer to those
Please,
white
Nicholas,
people
go
than I am. Hopeless is
Are
a
you
word is made of two words: hope and less. When you don't have hope in something, it is
Then you have
hopeless.
less hope.
So, what have you been getting out of that Parliament? You tell me.
Parliament could be doing more. Parliament could have the political levers to do more. They don't have to be at the mercy of the
Parliament is
president.
a political business
Njoroge.
center.
Yes.
The president
It's a business
effectively
center.
pulled the rug under this parliament.
Yes.
One,
That's
we're
what
going
I'm
to
saying.
discuss in more detail the
You're
leaking
totally right.
of the money that they were paid
It's a
to come out at the time it's come out. Number two is for him going to Tarehe Sita and thumbing his nose at them and telling them, I knew they were going, there was a process, but I decided to order the minister to sign the agreements anyway. And now he comes to explain to them.
Remember the story here. Lawyers had gone to court.
Yeah.
They wrote to embassies.
Yes.
And all the embassies, including my brother from America, all embassies of US are opportunistic. The lawyers wrote to them that, please, these people are going to sign these agreements. And they all kept quiet. And they were watching it today.
Tim, I mean, my
But
brother,
we
it is
must-
simple.
can
It
you let-
benefits them.
Let John come in here.
I agree with Nicholas when it comes to issues of oil and President Museveni. That one, gentlemen, we will debate, we will talk about it, we will go up this roof and come down and go under the table. But when President Museveni has decided he's going to do something, not even the Parliament of Uganda, not even those 375 MPs can do anything about it. And you see that, and I also agree with you, John, that it is a show that the Parliament of our Parliament is strong in certain areas, but lacks initiative to put its foot down and say no. We passed a resolution as Parliament and said these agreements should not be
The
signed.
opposition stayed out of this of his speech today.
Yes,
Look, the point is not whether Parliament can't say no. Even if they say no, so what? Power in this country does not rest in
I
Parliament.
agree with you
It rests
completely,
in the
Onapito.
army. The president commands the armies. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
Let's take the break and come back.
Parliament doesn't do enough with the resources it has.
It's live, it's hot, provocative, and